Welcome back to the Webby and O'Neill channel. It's the match preview, Manchester United versus Manchester City. Get involved with your own opinions, have your say, and we'll try and discuss some of your comments throughout today's video. I'm actually looking forward to this one. I've got to say, I like that T-shirt. Just noticed that when you took your top off there. Where have you got that from?
I bought it, didn't steal it, got it from the shop. I put a T-shirt on and he's giving me loads, but then that's your kids for you.
No, I like it.
Yeah, well,
I'm just wondering if you bought it yourself or did my mum buy it for you? Or...
I bought it myself and you're not having it because that's what he's really after. He's after my T-shirt.
Yeah, I might have to sneak through your wardrobe when I call back to his later, dropping you off and see what sort of new gear you've got.
There's a lock on it.
Yeah. I've got to look back to the match reaction after Nottingham Forest, the loss we suffered there a couple of days ago. And I would say 85–90% of the comments in that comment section after the game was all about Garnacho.
Yeah, I agree with that. I read some of the comments and that. And Garnacho, to be honest with you, is in danger. Not just for the City game. I think for the rest of the season, very, very poor. There was no cutting edge from him. He got plenty of the ball. And I mean, he got loads of space as well. Midfield worked well. Give him the ball. Just no cutting edge from him at all. His teamwork just wasn't there. Lots of people now changing their mind about Garnacho, saying he's selfish, he's got his eyes elsewhere and that. And at this moment, I'm not disagreeing with it because, you know, you look at the coaches and that, they've drilled it into him. It's a team game, do this, do that. And he just seems to be going back to how he was, where not giving the ball, keeping it to himself, running into like...
Blind alleys.
So he got... criticism, deserved criticism, because I looked right throughout that game and there was plenty of opportunities for Garnacho to cut in, cut out wide, get behind, and he chose the wrong choices. So I do fear for him and I think he is in trouble.
It's something that I'll go back to ever since he made his debut here at Manchester United. I've always liked Garnacho because I never feel like he hides, that he's hiding behind players, not wanting to receive the ball. And one thing that I still think's a positive is, even though it wasn't going his way against Nottingham Forest, he kept on trying it. He kept on trying to beat his player. He still kept on trying to shoot, trying to score a goal or create that pass. He wasn't hiding. And he's a young kid as well. I know a lot of people out there will say, oh, well, look at the number of games he's played for United, even on the national stage as well for Argentina. But you know, you're going to get these dips in form. You're not always going to get the complete player week in, week out at such a young age. No,
there's one thing you can't criticise him on. He has improved in the work rate, and Ruben Amorim has pointed that out on many occasions, and I've got to give him that. He is working hard, and that's what I like about his game. That's what he's improved. But if there's no cutting edge up front from him, there's no service for the centre forward in the middle, and that's one of the reasons why we're not getting goals, because we're not getting behind him. And you know, he has had plenty of opportunities to get behind, and yes, people will say he's young. I've said he's young, but I did say at the start of the season, I like what I've seen of Garnacho last season, but he has to improve. And to be honest with you, I've said it, not the first time now I've said it, I don't think he's improving. And the other night against Nottingham Forest, you clearly seen he hasn't lost that. Give me the ball. I want the ball. I want to do this. I'm going to do it my way. Well, you can't do it his own way, because at the end of the day, if he carries on like that, there's only one way, and that's the highway.
As you've seen on screen there, a quote after the, I think it was after the game against Forest, to be honest. I don't think it was before it. He mentioned about Garnacho that the important thing for Amorim is that he's chasing back, he's running back, he's helping out with his defensive duties. But surely then the important thing is, as a number 10 in the role he plays, is to actually create. Well, or is it in this system that's the most important thing? You know, the players working together, fighting for each other, tracking back and helping your teammates out?
No, I don't think Amorim's trying to say this is the most important thing. The most important thing, right, is in that 18-yard box and getting behind and like pushing the defence back. And he's not doing that. I think he's just covering for him. And I think if you look, I did say the next 9 games for all these players are important. They've got to show form. They've got to show willing. And he does show willing, tracking back, like you say. But if he's not improving and he's not playing well, then you have to ask yourself, and people are asking, and I've seen the comments, like, if he doesn't do it and he doesn't change, then you've got to have a look at him in the summer. And I did say, all these players will be looked at in the summer. And Garnacho done himself no favours the other night, looking at the City game on Sunday, even getting into that team. Yes, City are a different kettle of fish. They will come at United. They won't sit back like Forest did. City want to get in that Champions League. So it's going to be a different game. And I think there will be space. Will he get a start? I'm not too sure. I think the whole system, the way we will sort of line up on Sunday will be different. And I don't think he will be dropped just because of that performance. I think he might be dropped because of the way Ruben Amorim's going to set up.
Yeah, tactical reasons.
Tactical reasons.
Yeah, maybe similar to what we've seen against Arsenal and how we start more in a low block, 5 or 10 yards further back. But just diving into the chat. Danny, thanks for your super chat, mate.
Thank you.
He says, got to start Mount versus City. I think he's not afraid of pressing, and Garnacho is much better off the bench. I was actually going to say that in the next breath from me, that I actually do think Garnacho is a good impact player off the bench, though.
Yeah, I think he's going to change the personnel. I think Mount will play. Amorim has spoke about Mason Mount, saying he can play on the left, he can play on the right. He likes what he sees from Mount with the press and the running, and he will sort of push into that 18-yard box given the chance. And I think there will be plenty of chance. I think there will be space for Mason Mount to run into that space. And I think Garnacho will be out. And then if you take a look, if he's dropping Garnacho, what about that midfield? What about up front? How's he going to do that? And for me, I think what will happen is Ugarte will be in there. And I think Bruno will come back. So it'll be them two there. And then I just go looking forward, taking Garnacho out. I think Xerxes behind Haaland. I think that's how it's going to be. And you'll have Mason Mount.
Yeah, he did mention, as you can see on screen there recently, that if you look at the history of Mason Mount, he's played in this system many times, the system Amorim actually plays. And a little bit further down there, and this is going back to last month, where he says he really loves Mason Mount because I see him, I know how he suffers, I know he does everything right, he eats right, the physical aspect is perfect. He's trying too much, though. It's obviously the injuries that are impacting Mason Mount's career, and the problem you've got here with a player like Mount, judging on his injury record at United, is the fact that it wouldn't surprise you through training midweek if it come out in the press conference that, oh, Mason Mount suffered a setback or he's actually been injured during training. That's the sort of feeling you have around Mason Mount, that you can't really rely on him for more than 5, 6 or 7 games, really.
I don't think you can rely on Mason Mount for more than 3, and he's under big pressure to prove his fitness. But Ruben Amorim, absolutely glowing praise for him, and he knows the type of player he is, and he knows that he'll fit in his system. I like Mason Mount. A lot of people out there disagree with that. They don't like him. I think he has to prove himself, Mason Mount, but I do believe he will come into the game on Sunday. And I think once he gets into that team, he will stay in there right through to the end of the season. But if he doesn't, if he breaks down, I think there's going to be serious repercussions looking at Mason Mount in the summer. So fingers crossed for the kid. But I think he will start on Sunday.
Yeah, even going back to November, you can see on screen there the comments from Ruben Amorim on Mason Mount, and he says, I can tell you, I love the kid. You can look into his eyes that he wants this so bad, and that is the most important thing. And yeah, he's had a lot of glowing words to say about Mason Mount ever since he walked through the door here at Manchester United. But I do go back to last month as well, when I remember Ruben Amorim talking about Garnacho, that we need players like Garnacho in this squad going forward, that they're important.
Yeah, they are important, but what they've got to do is learn it's a team game. He got in the position the other night, and we've seen it all season where he's got in the position. He had plenty of ball, plenty of space to do what he's there to do, and that's to get in there and create some cutting edge and get behind and give a pass and to create goals. And he's not been doing it this season. And Tuesday night, I think, was a poor example of what we're all expecting from him. I have to go.
I've got to point something out here, though. Managers, coaches, head coaches, whatever you want to call them, they're employed to get the best out of the players.
Yes.
They're employed to get the best out of the current squad. Is Ruben Amorim actually getting the best out of Garnacho? Because we've all said ever since he burst onto the scene, there is a talent there. He has got attributes like his pace, his dribbling, beating a defender, getting balls in. You know, there's still a lot to improve on in all them aspects of what I've just mentioned. But shouldn't there be enough there for a manager to get the best out of a player like that?
Well, you would expect the coaches and the manager to drill it into him. But for some reason, and people have been saying it for quite a while, the press, the media, have all gone at it, that there's something wrong with Garnacho. I don't know if there's something wrong with him. Why isn't he listening? This is what I don't understand. When he talks about Mason Mount, it's like he's looking into his soul when he speaks to him. He must have a heart, or he must have had a few heart-to-hearts with Mason Mount to get a real understanding of him. Well, he would have had the same with Garnacho, but for some reason, Garnacho might be listening, might be talking, everything might be going right, but when it comes on the pitch, for some reason, Garnacho seems to be playing for himself, which was highlighted, and everyone out there highlighted it, that he was just playing for himself. That can't continue. No matter what you say off the pitch, no matter what you say on training grounds or in a room on your own and that, you have to do it on the pitch. And time is limited here at Manchester United. There's big changes coming in the summer. So if you don't perform, you're out. You're just out. And that's the way it's going to be, because we need to change in the summer. And Garnacho really needs to change now. And he needs to get his head down. But I don't think he'll get his head down on Sunday. I think he'll come on as an impact player, as a substitute on Sunday. That's how I see it, especially against Manchester City. Even if he would have had a good game against Nottingham Forest or a half-decent game, I still think Sunday's game, with the position and with the players and the formation Amorim, I think, will play, I think Garnacho still would have been on the bench.
Just going back to your comments about Garnacho, and a lot of the comments echoed this, especially after the Nottingham Forest game, that Garnacho is all after himself, looking after himself, being too greedy in a nutshell. But, I mean, if you look at them two Sociedad games, home and away, you look at the Arsenal game, playing off the right-hand side as a number 10, I don't think he was looking at all himself, being too greedy. I think he'd done a few good balls, crosses into the box for other players, and we just didn't get on the end of them to go and then put the ball in the back of the net. I actually seen a difference in Garnacho on that right-hand side as a 10. And what baffled me a bit is then when we come back from the international break, Ruben Amorim then puts him on the left-hand side as the 10 and Xerxes on the right-hand side as a 10. Whereas I've seen a bit of an improvement from Xerxes himself on that left-hand side as a number 10 in the recent games.
No, this is the frustrating thing about Garnacho. You've highlighted some games where his work rate and he's done well and he's been on the right-hand side and that. And it is there in him. We can see it's there in him, but it's frustrating that it's not game after game, or he has a nice long run at playing and getting behind and creating the space, you know, and having a cutting edge up front. We're not seeing it as regular as we should do. When you base it on his performances last year, his learning curve coming through and everything, that's his education. He got his education, right? And he should be there out now. There's a lot of young players in this squad, right? What is around, and he should be up there. His shoulders should be high and he should be like full of it. I'm going to do this. I'm a team player and everything. Yes, and he shows glimpses of that, but it's not good enough at this moment, right? To be in this team week in, week out, when you're having the odd performance where we can highlight it. And Garnacho, and you have to say it, he had all the time, all the space on Tuesday night, and he didn't use it to what we expect. And that is the bad thing. And that's why people came in, right, with the comments, and a hell of a lot of comments about him. He had everything on a plate for him, you know. So for me, poor performance, poor attitude. It wasn't a team game he was playing. I'm not saying he's got a poor attitude. I'm saying that attitude there, not playing as a team. And we need to be a team. Amorim is trying to create a team. That's what I'm trying to say. And he just seems to be the odd one out, especially on Tuesday night. And we get that every now and again from him. And for me, it's not good enough.
Yeah, no, I do get that. But I was just going back to them 3 or 4 games that I highlighted earlier. From playing on the right-hand side, to me, he was looking like a team player there. A lot more of a team player than you've seen ever since he come on and made his debut at Manchester United. And then for him to then be reverted back to the left-hand side, which, you know, possibly Garnacho himself might admit that's his best position, coming off that left. But for me, I've seen a difference in Garnacho. I'm not saying he had worldies in them games, but I've seen a difference where he was a team player in there and he was actually trying to create things more often than not.
Yeah, but
not being selfish.
I know we will get some comments on playing on the right, and maybe some people feel it's his best position, but we've got Ahmad, okay? He's on the right because of Ahmad, okay? There is no way Garnacho is putting Ahmad on the bench when he comes back.
Fair point.
That's the problem. So he's only on the right while Ahmad's out, and then we might get another young player coming through, or we might buy someone else to go on the right-hand side. Garnacho's position and his future is not on the right. That's what I'm saying about going forward. So when Tuesday night was there, everything should have been exploited. He had the time and everything, and he didn't. Now, if you go and you look at the two, Garnacho and Ahmad having all that space, you would have had the cutting edge, he would have created chances and everything, okay? That's the difference. So Garnacho's future is not on the right-hand side while Ahmad's there and while Ahmad's fit. That's how I look at it. And that's why I say he's in trouble.
Yeah, I do believe...
He's got to cement that left-hand side, and he has to produce. And at this moment in time, Tuesday night, nailed on, did not produce.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think Ruben Amorim will have a chat with him if he's not done already, put an arm round him to give him that bit of confidence. But I do agree as well. I do think at the moment he does sort of lack that mental resilience, you know, that toughness in games when it's not really going his way. I remember going back to the Tottenham away game in this calendar year when we got beat, and you know, on that game we had Dorgu there, and I remember, was it early on in the first half, he missed the sitter, Garnacho, when he cut inside, and he never seemed to recover from that moment. He was always trying to do things that he shouldn't be doing, making the wrong decisions or working too hard to try and correct his mistakes. And I got a bit of a feeling of that against Nottingham Forest. But like I say, I'd rather have a player who's like going down, getting back up and going at it again than a player who's looking to hide or do things like certain players have done for the majority of this season. Well, in the first half, Anthony and Rashford, where they get the ball, pass it square or pass it backwards. At least Garnacho will go forward with the ball and trying to be more direct. So
the good thing, and it is an improvement in guys, when you see him go down, he's back up and he's straight into the action, and you can't take that away from him. But I don't think now is the time to put an arm around him. I think that's all done. He's playing for Manchester United now. You have to be a quick learner. And last year, as far as I'm concerned, he was a quick learner. So all that work ethic and everything what he's putting in and that, right, he has to produce. There is no ifs or buts, and many United fans are saying it. Plenty of time. Youth now is no age. If you're good enough, don't matter how young you are, you're on the pitch. Now, he was good enough. Okay, but there's something missing. It's okay putting that work ethic in, and I like it when I see that aggression from him. Okay, but you've got to produce, and if you're not producing, then something has to be looked at, and this is where I go. We've still got time with him. He's still got time to turn it round, which I think he will. I hope he will. But by the time the summer comes, then there's questions to be asked, not just on Garnacho.
Yeah, of course. We need to build a squad here where there's competition for places, challenges for places week in, week out with actual quality on the pitch, not just work rate. But I'll go back to you mentioning about work and fight. And one thing that was lacking for me in that second half, what I think changed from the first half against Forest, was Emmanuel Agata. I actually thought we looked quite composed at times, really good with some slick one-touch passing with him in there, which allowed the likes of Casemiro to do his best work. And I think in the second half, him getting taken off, Bruno being dropped deeper, it sort of didn't go on the way it was from the first half into the second half, which I expected that to happen.
I expected United to go on and push and get at least an equaliser. But when the second half started, you've seen a total difference in like holding the ball, fast passing, movement and everything in the midfield. The midfield was solid in that first half. But for 15, maybe possibly 20 minutes, you know, it was like Forest were on the attack. They moved forward because we was wide open again. Yeah. Taking Ugarte out of there was the wrong thing to do. I actually thought, and I did say, and many people out there said it in the comments, and that it was Garnacho what needed to come off at half-time, not Ugarte, because that midfield was working. It was purring as far as I was concerned. The football, the speed, the movement, sort of like giving a ball and anticipating someone to be there for it. Yeah. That was the good thing about it. So for me, you look forward to the game on Sunday, and it's got to be Ugarte and Bruno there. Bruno and Ugarte together, I think, will work excellent. But that was the difference, because I thought United just lost the way playing football and were disjointed, and that was because they took Ugarte out of there.
Yeah, I wouldn't discount it completely that we could possibly see Ugarte and Casemiro in there with Bruno as a 10, where he's dropping that little bit deeper to get involved, so he's closer to the two midfielders, Ugarte and Casemiro. And like you say, and I think you're correct, going into that second half, we look wide open, just like we were seeing at times, or the majority of the time, under Erik ten Hag.
I can't see, me personally, I can't see Casemiro playing on Sunday for one simple reason. City on the edge of the area, in that midfield, the ball will be pinging left, right, centre, try to run through you, and he won't be able to turn. We've seen him. I thought he played a decent game the other night. Fair play to him. I've always said his legs have gone. It's not good enough. Hopefully, United will move him on and they'll get someone who can improve in that position in the summer. But on Sunday, no, not for me. No way. Casemiro, too slow. Won't be able to get there. And for me, I look at Casemiro, and I think all the referees have just got it in for him.
Yeah, of course.
He just keeps getting pulled up, but we know he's been sent off or anything. And again on Tuesday night, he was flabbergasted at how he got booked. And then when you look at what some of the tackles and the way they were going on, the Nottingham Forest players and that, the ref was doing nothing. But as soon as Casemiro steps up, did something wrong, they were on him. But I get that impression all the games. And Casemiro just wanders around shaking his head at times, thinking, it's a me again, why me? But footballing-wise, on Sunday, not for me. They will just play round him and run him ragged, and he won't be able to turn and chase back. So for me, Ugarte, Bruno there, have Haaland up front and have Xerxes there. That for me is the way to go.
I'm going different there, but I agree with the Casemiro. Adjudged to have fouled Yates from Forest, got the yellow card, and then moments later, Yates done the exact or even worse tackle. I think it was on Bruno Fernandes, and got away with it. But we've seen that quite a lot, haven't we? We've
seen it all the time now
at Manchester United. But for me, in the midfield there, I'm going Casemiro, Ugarte, and the two number 10s, Mason Mount and Bruno. Bruno up there with Mount, for Bruno to drop into that midfield, create that extra body, be a bit more compact as well, and trying to create some sort of build-up play, which we did see against Nottingham Forest, who have been a very, very good team this season. And for me, Haaland's got to be up top. One person we've been mentioning week in, week out, ever since the start of the season, really, is Matthijs de Ligt. I think he's going to be crucial in this game with the attack that City have got.
Yeah, well, the good thing for Matthijs de Ligt there, he's not got Haaland, because Haaland's out. Not Haaland, he's not got the big fella. What's his name? No, the City player coming at him.
Oh, I mean, Erling Haaland.
Erling Haaland. I don't like him. That's why I just forgot his name and that right out my brain, yeah. So he's not got him. So it won't be too bad, that big pressure for him. I think the ball will be played out wide where City come. But I've got to go back to what Amorim will do to this team. And I look at it and I say to myself, will he have an eye on Thursday night going into that Europa League against Lyon on Thursday? And I think he will. So I'm looking at the team and I'm thinking, this is what I think is the strongest side against City. But he might think differently. He might have an eye on Thursday night. That's the danger of playing on Sunday against City. He's got to play his strongest side and not worry about Thursday night. That's how I see it. Because the Europa League is the priority. I've said it for 6 months now. It is the priority. It's the one thing I always thought we could win. And I think Ruben Amorim sort of alluded to it the other day. Europa League, we're going for it.
Yeah, I think we can all sense that, can't we? The Europa League, it's that or bust, isn't it? And that's it. And you know, even if we were to go and win that, you would feel still there'd been a need for a heavy investment or a number of players to be brought in the summer to try and even compete in that Champions League next season for me. So, let's all hope that we can go on and actually win it and get to the final. But like I say, there'd be a lot of players, I believe, you'd need to bring in the summer to make sure they work in this system, because for me, going in the Champions League, we all love them Champions League nights here at Old Trafford, but we want to be competing in it. We want to be competitive. We don't want to be getting draws against minors or, losses against teams each week in that Champions League. For me, you want to win the games.
Listen, I can't even discuss the Champions League of how we're going to play in it, if we get in it and all that. That's too far ahead. That's dreamland. So I just look at the Champions League and I look at it from the position of Sunday, and I look at City, what they've got to do. They have got to come and get 3 points. And I think that's why the game might open up, where we will get space. United have to break the press. They're going for the Champions League. They will come forward. They're in danger. I mean, that's what I see. I think they're in danger of falling out of that automatic Champions League place. So they've got to win. That's how I see it, because the other teams are picking up points. Forest, obviously, they've cemented that third place as far as I'm concerned. So there's a fight there. But if City come to Old Trafford, get beat, and then they go and get beat again, I think they're in real danger. So for me, I think it's going to be an exciting game. It's going to be a battle. And I think City will just play it out wide and try and come behind us. But Champions League place is in danger for them. And will Ruben Amorim, will he be looking at picking that side with an eye for the Europa League? Because the Champions League is the one what we've got to go for.
A little bit of a stat there for you, a few stat heads out there. Manchester United is aiming for a home and an away league double over City this season, a feat last achieved in the 2019-20 campaign under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, which, to be honest with you, it was the last time I actually enjoyed watching Manchester United play week in, week out. Some out there called him a PE teacher and absolutely hounded him, which, maybe looking back on that, some of you might think that was a mistake.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people will, when they look back at Ole's reign and say, some of that football I prefer now to what I've been seeing over the last 2 years. But hey, we are where we are. We look forward to it. City, come to United. And I can't believe we've got the chance of actually doing the double over them. What a statement that'd make. It'd cheer everyone up in Manchester, I tell you, because them City fans just have to wipe their mouths. Absolutely wipe their mouths. They've got the FA Cup to go for. So obviously, that's what'll cheer him up. But I don't think they'll win that. That's my opinion. But to beat them at Old Trafford and to do the double over them, put a right smile on my face. And any City fan what'll come across will be looking the other way, because they know exactly what I'll be saying to them.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm looking at the game like I do every game. I want us to win. Obviously, that derby, it grabs that extra taste where you want to beat them, obviously. But I'm not really looking towards like the start of it, beating them home, beating them away, because we're sat in 13th position in the Premier League. And for me, it's nothing to boast over when you're actually beating your local rivals home and away in the season, when we've been playing poor for the majority of the season. There's still a lot of work to do at this football club on the inside and the outside as well. But let's all hope, fingers crossed, that we do get a win. And, we finish a weekend off on a high going into that Lyon game next week.
Look, the season is as it is. Will we have any highs or anything? People are playing for the places. And I did say, coming back after the international break, we've got to play well. I didn't say we have to win every game. We just got to play well because the summer is so important. But no, beating City gives us something for that weekend and the rest of the week. That's what it's about this Sunday. Forget the league place. We are where we are. No one's in danger of falling in that bottom three. So we've got nothing to worry about there. Let's try and pick up some points and let's get a smile back on our faces. That's what we want. I don't want my week spoiling. Many people out there will be screaming, got to beat him, because I'll be facing City fans. This is a derby game and these players better wake up and just react to it, because I'm not having a week of City fans just smiling and laughing. Not having it.
Yeah, I take it you won't be going for a walk or anything like that.
I'll be going for a walk. I'll have my United hat on. I'll be on my bike.
It actually does,
I'll be biking it round. I'll be walking around. I'll have my United hat on, okay? Because I like looking at them.
Yeah, whether it's 30 degrees or not,
I don't care.
Will be on.
No, I don't care, because they're there and they just look. You know, and if they beat us, they'll be thinking, why are you wearing that United hat?
You do that because you want them to say something.
Oh, yeah, that's what I do, yeah. That's what I do. I try and get them at it, but they don't bite.
Yeah, now and again.
It's my way of coping with getting beat.
Yeah.
Just going out there, striding about. I'm a United fan, got me out, and I don't care. So we got beat, so what? Yeah, that's how I look at it. But that's what Derby Day does. It's a terrible day in Manchester. If you live in Manchester, it's a terrible day, whether you're a United fan or City fan. The nerves kick in, everything. So getting a double over them, I'll be over the moon.
Yeah.
I'll be celebrating like nothing.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it. Phil Worrell, thanks for your super chat, my mate.
Thanks.
He says Garnacho needs to be played on the right because he's forced to provide on that side. Do you think he's, you know, judging off the last few weeks when he has played on that right-hand side, do you think he looks to create more by getting crosses in from that right compared to the left-hand side?
I look at it with him on the left and with Dorgu there. If I look at the game the other night, the ball, they were looking for Dorgu, they were looking for Garnacho. That's where the game was being played, all on the left. Any attack or any like 1-2s trying to get behind him was all through the left. So that's where he's going to play. There's no right side for him in the future. There is no right side for him. He has to be on the left. And that's where mainly the football was played. All the passing, all the quickness and everything was all about Dorgu, especially that first half. Dorgu lost the plot for 20 minutes in that second half with his passing and everything. Garnacho lost the plot. We all seen that, right? But that's where the attack was coming. That's where he is the most dangerous. That's where I see him playing, and he has to do it. Not on the right. I think the right... Listen, I know he's played well on the right. I like the work rate, what he's done on the right, but I'm looking at it from a Manchester United point of view, looking who's there. He's only there. He's only there to replace Ahmad. And we've all seen what Ahmad's done to City.
Yeah, no, I do get that point, and it's a valid point as well, looking to the future there on that right-hand side. But let's face it as well, you know, Ahmad has had some decent performances for Manchester United this season, but like I mentioned earlier, in this squad, these transfer windows are about building competition for places, and Ahmad's no different. We need to bring players in who are going to have that competition with Ahmad as well. But I'd just like to thank you all for joining us today, getting involved in the chat as usual. Some great comments in there. Love the support from you. We did actually film yesterday episode 2 of the Manchester United Fan Culture series with my dad, Tony O'Neill, for the Leeds versus Manchester United game in 1973. I must say, not just saying this because he's my dad, but it was an absolute great listen to what he actually had to say. Now, that's going to be out on general release on our main YouTube channel on Monday. But if you are a member, make sure you've got that notification on, because we will release it tomorrow on Friday at 12, so you get early access for it. So keep a lookout for that. And we'll be back tomorrow with a live video and also a bit of a teaser, a bit of a chat, a short one, discussing that video that's coming out on the main channel on Monday. Hopefully I've got through all that for you, and it's nice and easy to listen to, and you understand where we're at. It's all about Leeds. Like I say, it's a great listen, so hopefully you all tune in for that one when we release it.
And remember, in 1973, there was no mobile phones.
No, there wasn't. Yeah, just a pack of cards, I think, by the sounds of it. But yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow. You take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.